So we all know that Kirby is a bottomless void that can consume basically anything in existence. But what if he had to follow the American Heart Association's recommendations for daily caloric intake? Well, today we're gonna find out by seeing how fast we can eat 2,000 calories worth of food in every Kirby game, starting with Kirby's Dream Land on the Game Boy. Now for this challenge, we'll only be counting calories from food, so no living creatures or other non-food related objects. Let's begin by heading into this house here where we can consume a couple energy drinks. And if you're wondering where I'm getting the calorie amounts from, I have a very precise scientific method, so you're just gonna have to trust me that it's 100% accurate. Anyways, after gracefully maneuvering around some enemies and blowing this guy up, we are graciously offered an apple from our friend here. Now, it may appear that's all there is to eat here, but actually, if we go back left and then right again, we've now unlocked the infinite apple glitch. A quick 17 apples later, and we've got our 2,000 calories. Onto Kirby's Adventure, where we begin in Vegetable Valley. I would have preferred Cheeseburger Valley, but hey, at least there should be some food here. Let's start by picking up the Beam Copy ability, which should help us maneuver through the level faster. Okay, we didn't need that anyways. A little bit into the level, we can eat this nice soggy tomato and then proceed to level 2. There hasn't been much food so far, but at least this guy survived the explosion from the last game. Anyways, thankfully, once we enter this cave, we're blessed with another infinite apple glitch. So after inhaling 20 of them this time, we've hit our calorie goal. Back to the Game Boy now with Kirby's Dream Land 2. There's not much to eat in level 1, but if we head into this room here, we can inhale a totally normal umbrella and, more importantly, grab an energy drink. After completing the level, we'll go ahead and launch ourselves through some innocent bystanders to get another energy drink and a tomato. But we still got a lot of calories to go, so let's head into level 2, become a fireball, then take out this, thing to free an imprisoned hamster, I guess. After that, not much further ahead. I'm sure you could see this coming, but it is once again apple time. If I was Kirby, I would never want to see another apple in my life. All right, so the first few Kirby games have been a bit lacking in terms of food variety, but thankfully we've got Kirby Superstar now. All we have to do for this one is just hop into Gourmet Race, and as long as we just stay ahead of King DDD, we can rack up our 2,000 calories very quickly. Over to Kirby's Dream Land 3, and I've got some good news and bad news for this one. The bad news is that our food options are back to being very limited, and there aren't even any apples in this one. The good news though is that we can befriend a cool owl guy who flies us around really fast, which will greatly speed up the process of chugging an obscene amount of energy drinks that would surely cause a normal human to explode. So yeah, as long as we just fly very carefully, it shouldn't take. So I've got some more bad news. Nah, it's actually okay, because a couple minutes later, we can pick up his identical twin brother and fly to the last few energy drinks we need to hit 2,000 calories. Next, we've got Kirby 64, and now that we've got enough energy for an entire lifetime, let's go back to eating actual food, like tomatoes, cake, giant chunks of meat on bones. One cool thing about this game is how you can combine two copy abilities to create new special ones. For example, if I take my fire ability and, that's not the right button. Yeah, let's just go ahead and pretend like none of that happened. All right, so after we take out Mr. Eyeball here, we've got an opportunity to eat a delicious looking sandwich if we can just line up this jump. Oof, this is not my finest performance, guys. Now, after munching on a tomato, a sandwich, and another cake slice, we just need a little bit more food, which we can find in the form of another tomato down below here. Onto Kirby Air Ride now, and for this one, we're gonna hop right into the main game mode, which is City Trial, of course. And like any city, we're just gonna keep a close eye on the ground and break open any random boxes we see laying around in search for some food scraps. Because you never know when you'll find an entire roast chicken just waiting to be eaten. From there, we'll pick up a tomato and a hot dog before heading underground, where there's a special encounter with a food thief named Tak, who apparently stole an onigiri, a couple soft creams, and a burger, which gets us well over 2,000 calories. All right, Kirby and the Amazing Mirror. Mirrors are okay, I guess, but what I find amazing is how there's a big chunk of meat on a bone just chilling up here in the clouds. The only downside, I guess, is that you have to eat a battery on the way to it, but unfortunately, we can't count any calories for that. Now, let's go ahead and pick up the Cupid ability for some extra mobility and go searching for some more food. In the beginning grassy area, there's some cherries and tomatoes, but we can do better than that. So let's continue on to the Moonlight Mansion, where right away we can steal this guy's dinner to get us to 2,000 calories. I'm sure he won't mind. Over to Canvas Curse, where Kirby has transformed into a ball. And even though I'm pretty sure he doesn't have a mouth, we're gonna ignore that and just roll along, consuming some giant energy drinks along the way. But if I'm being honest, none of these calories mean much at all, because once we speedrun through the first 3 levels, all we have to do is choose King Dedede as our mini boss, and we are rewarded with a bountiful feast. Next up is Squeak Squad, where there's not too much food in the first level besides a couple imprisoned cherries and a soggy tomato, but once we reach the end of the level, we've got 3 beautiful chunks of meat waiting for us. In level 2, thankfully, not too far in, there's some more meat inside of a bubble. I personally wouldn't recommend mixing soapy water bubbles with your food, but hey, we'll take the calories. One nice thing about Squeak Squad is that the early levels are very short, so it doesn't take long for a chance at redemption. Onto Kirby Mass Attack now. Let's see what kind of cuisine we got in store for us this time. Oh. Looks like we're back to the apple diet. After quickly inhaling 8 of them, a little further, we can transform these green guys into more apples, of course. After that, let's fall out of this door for even more apples and head to the right for what I can only assume will be... Oh, okay, well, that still gets us over 2,000 calories. For our next meal, let's return to Dreamland and start making our way through the first level, picking up a couple of cherries before revealing this enemy's true delicious identity. From there, we'll head into a cave and turn this Waddle Dee into a cooked piece of meat on a bone. Not my usual go-to type of meat, but you know, it'll do. Then back outside the cave, what we're gonna wanna do here is destroy everything with a giant magical sword, which is, of course, to reveal the various fruits hiding within these rocks, which gets us to 2,000 calories. Over to Triple Deluxe, which sounds like some kind of a fast food burger that would have 2,000 calories on its own, so let's go looking for it. About a minute into the game, we can find our first food item, which unfortunately is not a burger, but just a little further, there's a nice 1,000 calorie chunk of meat. Then after eating 3 bananas and a whole pineapple, we are already close to 2,000 calories. Something relatively small at this point should do the trick. Oh. Yeah, I'm not counting entire trees for this challenge, but luckily there's some more bananas right here. Next, we've got Kirby and the Rainbow Curse. So remember back in Kirby's Dream Land 3 when we were just pounding a bunch of energy drinks? Well, we're going back to the liquid calorie diet again here, except this time, instead of energy drinks, we've got bottles of milk. I'll let you guys decide which is worse, but I'm pretty sure there's a thing where if you drink too much milk too quickly, it forces you to puke. And we definitely don't want that happening with how much Kirby is spinning around. But yeah, after picking up a couple bottles in the first level, let's continue on to the big old milk tree. And I gotta say, this has gotta be some kind of world record for most milk bottles stored in a single tree, because this thing is absolutely absolutely stocked up. Level 3 is the final stop for our milk-filled adventure, where after picking up a couple more stragglers, we conclude our journey by accepting the gracious offerings of the 3 wise milkfish. Onto planet Robobot now, a planet we can only hope does not have any cows. Early on, there's not much food at all, but we can pick up a soda and an energy drink. We're gonna need much more than that though. Oh, maybe Bandana Waddle Dee can help us out. Cool. Thanks. After picking up another soda and narrowly escaping this very dangerous tree, we've got a little bonus minigame at the end of the level, which nets us an ice cream soda float and a burger. It doesn't look like a triple deluxe though, so we'll have to continue on to level 2, where early on we can find a nice plate of omurice. And oh wow, there we go. Here, you can have those cherries back from earlier. Then after stealing a giant mecha suit and infusing it with flames, let's do what anyone would do in this situation. Eat some pancakes. Over to Kirby Star Allies, a game about converting enemies into friends. But for this playthrough, friends are just people we need to share our food with, so we're not gonna bother with that. Let's start by collecting a couple oranges and some bananas, then proceed to absolutely desecrate the entire ecosystem with fire and giant explosions. Then pick up this melon here. And then after eating a whole pumpkin and a treasure chest tomato, we'll need to temporarily use 3 friends to pull down this big rock. And oh man, we are going to need our best food detectives on this case, because there's definitely some food mixed in with these stars. But if we rewind and pause it here, I believe we've got 3 donuts and 3 macarons, which puts us over 2,000 calories. Finally, we've got Kirby in the Forgotten Land, where we begin with Kirby attempting to eat sand, but I will not be counting calories for that. Now this crab, on the other hand, so close, almost got him. Let's go ahead and eat these cherries before heading into the city, where there's an energy drink and a carrot pretty early on. Imagine playing this game for the first time and accidentally skipping this cutscene, then all of a sudden you just see this. Anyways, that's all the food we can get here, so let's zoom ahead, then save this blue mouse fairy before heading to the next level. Here, we're definitely gonna want to free this cake from prison, then all that's left to do is quite simple, really. We'll just become a vending machine and rapid fire spit out enough sodas to reach our final 2,000 calories. And for the final results, here's how long it takes to eat 2,000 calories in every Kirby game, from slowest to fastest. Thank you so much for watching, and if you like these kinds of videos, it would mean a lot if you subscribed.